Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Martin Emerson Jr. has been a fixture on this program since he was drafted. We mic'd him up at David Njoku's celebrity softball game. That started the connection, and we have been big MJ fans ever since, mainly Earl, who copied his hairstyle. So Earl, MJ's currently a free agent, coming off a season-ending injury before the season even started last year. What should the Browns do with their former third-round pick who had showed a ton of signs of promise before missing the entire 2025 season?
Well, a couple things here. First and foremost,
I know where you're starting.
My hair is longer, so
he copied you.
He copied me.
There we go. Okay,
Two,
sorry.
I'm from this city. He just so happened to fall into the same stylist that I had, so he copied my stylist.
Same loctician?
Yeah, so,
Loctician?
Loctician.
Oh, yeah. See, respect the culture. I got you, Earl.
So seeing that all of that is the case, I would kind of say I started this. But no, he's definitely a fan favorite on this show. And, of course, I'm biased. But if I can put the bias aside and just look at it for what it is, then absolutely, yes. A 1-year or a 2-year prove-it deal for little money wouldn't hurt the Browns. Actually, it's a low-risk, high reward when you already know the character of the football player, when you've seen his potential and you've seen him at what has been his best so far during his NFL career. Is Martin Emerson Jr. the fastest corner in the NFL? No, absolutely not. But the one thing that works to his advantage, and it worked to his advantage when he was in the SEC, is he has pretty damn good ball skills. Hence the PBUs while he was in college. I think he led the SEC then.
He did.
You've seen his peak as a Cleveland Brown. He has the ability to make plays on the ball, make pass breakups, etc. And you can find a way to earn a role on this football team by being a hybrid corner or safety, finding a few packages for you. But we typically see how Andrew Berry and the Cleveland Browns do business. And if it's a player that they really like inside that building, they respect and has some emotional tie to, then this can be a situation to where it can work for both people. Give him an opportunity to, rejuvenate his career, get healthy, and in 2 years, if he's still a top-tier corner and he can go get a bigger bag somewhere else, okay, so be it. For us, if you keep the money low and it's not much guaranteed money, then if it don't turn out or if he get hurt again, you can move him from said player. So to me, it's a win-win situation when you consider we're, almost 3 weeks into free agency and he's still sitting out there.
Dustin?
Well, and that's a good point. He's sitting out there still, which means to your point about the money, well, the money's probably not going to be that high. Otherwise, he probably would have signed with somebody. He's coming off of an injury, Achilles tear in 2025. That's a concern for a corner. Those guys come back. You're never quite the same player that you were. You'll still be a good player, but you lack a little something. Burst, twitch, whatever it may be. I've seen it happen with guys, throughout my time around the league, and seeing guys have Achilles tears. But they could use the depth. If it's a low deal, if it's a 1-year prove-it deal like Earl suggests that they may end up doing, yeah, I'm all for that. I mean, the money's not going to be very high for the guy. If the Browns, they know his character, they like him. One thing Achilles tear doesn't change is the length of his arms. Yeah. And he's long. He can get his hands on receivers. He's got great ball skills. That also helps with the long arms, being able to go up and high point the football. So, yeah, I'm all about it. This is a low risk move.
I'm not against it by any means. Let me be very clear. For the right deal, why not, right? You always need secondary help. You always need depth in the secondary. Cornerbacks are injury-prone by nature just because of the size. Denzel played almost every game last season for the first time in his long, illustrious career. So on the right deal, yeah, absolutely bring him back. But when you look at the recent trend of athletes and Achilles tears, we've seen quite the difference in how quickly some guys come back. And are they the same athlete or not? Tatum's back for the Celtics in about 10 months. He's not playing particularly well. His jump shot looks totally different. He's using all upper body, very little lower body. It's not that he's a bad player, but he's not the same Jason Tatum he was prior to the injury. The Browns had the most up-close and personal look at MJ through this entire recovery process, and the fact that we're 3 weeks into free agency and they haven't figured out some kind of deal tells me they may not believe, A, he's going to be fully healthy for 2025 yet, or B, he may not be the same player he was when he does come back. Speed wasn't his strength at the get-go, and he wasn't the quickest twitch in and out of cuts. We talked about that. Those are the kind of receivers that gave him more trouble than the long burners like a DK Metcalf. Coming off a torn Achilles, that's exactly the plant foot where you are having to mirror guys shift. So it pains me to say this, but I think the Browns not making a move on this earlier kind of tells me that they don't think he's going to be the same player, and that's a damn shame because MJ's a great guy, and I wish him the best in the speediest recovery. But if the team that has the most up-close, best medicals on you says, we may not be interested, how is another team that doesn't have that same information going to respond?
Yeah, but also maybe we're waiting to see what the market was for him. And
that's fair.
And he may have been like, yeah, I'm looking for a little bit more than what the Browns are considering offering, and he's sitting out there, the market's drying up on him a little bit, and now maybe the Browns get him back for that minimum. I'm just saying there's two sides to it.
No,
I mean,
100%, yeah.
it may not be just exactly black and white like you think.
If the medicals check out, I want to preface this because, coming back from Achilles, you said I was going to ask how hard is it to come back when you're a twitchy athlete like that. But do you know who the backup corners on the Browns are? Because I had to look it up. Other than Denzel and Tyson
can I
Campbell?
guess?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Miles Harden's still on the roster.
Yeah.
Is Donovan McMillan? He's a safety. Does that count?
No.
They just signed that Trey Avery guy.
Yeah, he's on there.
I
The names
don't
I've
know.
written down, Anthony Kendall, Dom Jones, and D'Angelo Ross.
Oh, they just signed that Ross guy, yeah.
My point being,
They need depth.
they need depth badly. And if the medicals check out and you think this guy can come back and be a shadow of what he once was, it's not going to hurt you for a year or two for low money. Let him get healthy. Let him try to come back from this. And you know what? If he booms and you decide, all right, he's out of our price range, then he can go off and do something else. But especially with the Denzel Ward, who, yes, he was healthy last year, but I don't think you could ever count on that. You need depth badly, especially at that defensive back position. So if it works out, go ahead, bring him back.
For the right money, I think we're all in agreement. The one interesting thing we're going to have to figure out is if he does come back, who do they move to the slot? Denzel's not going to the slot. Campbell's not a slot. And MJ, I think, wasn't a slot before the injury unless somehow he got more athletic post-Achilles tear. I don't think his really body type fits into the slot.
Dustin said something I think makes a lot of sense and has to be pointed out. The market is drying up. He's coming back off an injury. The Browns might have a new defensive coordinator, but every single position coach that was here last year and the year before that, and who's he familiar with, I would think if I'm Martin Emerson Jr. and I'm getting the opportunity to play again in 2026, I probably want the most familiar situation possible as I'm coming back off an injury.
Would you want that or the opportunity to play? Because he may not get as many snaps in this rotation because they need a slot more than they need an outside. I'm just curious. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
We lack depth at the position, and then there's a scenario to where he might learn how to play safety and just have that package of being on the field in a hybrid role. Like I said, he's not the fastest guy, but he's big, he's physical, and he has great ball skills. And I'm pretty sure Mike Rutenberg, the new Brown defensive coordinator, can find a way to use what he does best.
Well, we hope he's back because MJ is a favorite of the show, and it would not be the same secondary without him.